at what the papers are reporting this Monday morning. So many things happened over the weekend, which we'll chew on. The Nation newspaper says states slow down on loans following rise in revenue. This Nigeria. Oil price crash. Dangers ahead for Nigeria. Economists warn that federal government's 2025 budget faces threat over global energy crisis. Say project may stall while borrowing looms amid fiscal uncertainties. The Hope newspaper. Flooding threatens food supply. Farmers cry out. SEMA distributes relief materials to over 1,700 food victims. Abuja Inquirer. Uni Abuja, Wike battle over land grab allegation. Varsity or university mulls petition to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And Daily Independent. First Holdco, 1 trillion naira NPLs cast shadow over Otedola's takeover. Legacy loan crisis threatens turnaround efforts. That's according to experts. Platform Times. Tension rises as police pensioners begin mass protests today. Demand exit from pension scheme. Leadership newspaper also talks about strike 1 year after Supreme Court judgment. Workers threaten strike over lack of financial autonomy in local government areas. Blueprint newspaper. Our history would be incomplete if I had lost my presidential bid. That's according to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Awujale was steadfast, committed to democracy during the 12th struggle. Tunde Bakare explains late monarch's role in APC formation. Talk about Nigerian News Direct. No anointed candidate for 2027 presidential elections. That's according to the ADC. Supporters don't speak for Atiku or Obi. Opposition coalition cautions scams as Binani dumps APC, joins ADC in drama twist. More dramas ahead of 2027. Now, Lookman is Inter Milan's #1 target. Eagle star agrees 5 years deal with Nerazzurri, rejects Napoli offer. Talking about 2025 summer transfer. We'll be having this conversation with my colleagues, Etoma and Ria. You guys are
like
welcome.
2 against 1.
All right, then. So let's look at the Nation newspaper. We're starting off with it, as always. Looking at states slowing down on loans following rise in revenue. So if you look at the exchange rate and the revenue they are also generating, in states, the states are now saying, yeah, we need to slow down on it. Maybe because we're making some more monies and we have some things to do with this little money. I mean, more monies we're making, so there's no point going and borrowing.
Yes, I am a little bit disappointed that it's only 26 states that are doing this. I mean, what's wrong with the other 10? Your allocation has been jacked up by over 60%. And it doesn't make sense for you to have money and you go borrow money. And if you're borrowing on behalf of the state, that means it's public knowledge. You're going to have so much backlash, because, I mean, the cash is there.
Yeah.
Use the cash now. You don't have an excuse now that you don't have money. That's why it has not happened. Going beyond that, I expect states to have a whole lot of projects being commissioned in the next 1 year because of this push-up in their internally generated revenue, #1, and the allocation from the federal government, #2. States are very solvent right now, so we should see job creation, we should see developmental projects being done, and so on. In fact, I'm going to start a survey personally on states that are using that money well, and I'll call you guys out. Those of you that are not using it well,
yeah,
I'll call you out.
Of course, that's a job as a journalist, to look into what the government's doing. But if you look at since the removal of fuel subsidy, that ultimate pronouncement by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in 2023, when he took power during the inauguration, saying that fuel subsidy is gone. States are now receiving more than double of their allocations, and that is something that is very huge. But the question is, who is benefiting, really?
I say it's easy to borrow, but to pay back is the problem. And when I saw the news, I was quite excited. And I agree with you, Etoma. It's time for accountability. I will join you on that survey because I think that is high time that we now need to see what are these monies used for. It's good to see that we don't need to borrow again. There's now enough that we can use. But the only question I want to ask is that how would this extra revenue be used? Will it be used for infrastructure? Will it be used, to just make sure that things are better? Healthcare. In states, there are so many problems. We've seen flooding. We've seen so many things. So these monies that are now, we have excess. We don't need to borrow again. Thank God, because borrowing, we don't like borrowing like that. Now we have. What do we use it for? Do we use it wisely? Are we accountable for every penny that is being spent?
These are very important point that you've raised. But let's move on to this Nigeria. This is talking about oil price crash. Dangers ahead for Nigeria. Economists warn that federal government 2025 budget faces threat over global energy crisis. Say projects may stall while borrowing looms amid fiscal uncertainties. This is more like an anathema of what we just spoke about. Saying that the oil price crash, and Nigeria depends on there's this oil boom era, and that's still our mainstay where we generate a lot of money. But even though they are looking to diversifying our revenue base, but all the same, we've not been able to extricate ourselves from the benefits of mining and exporting, and also the usage of oil. But how do you interpret this particular story regarding the dangers ahead for Nigeria vis-a-vis the oil price?
Let me just paint a scenario. If you planned your budget on, let's say, $75 per barrel, and because of one reason or the other, the price of crude now goes to $40 per barrel.
Yeah.
You're losing $25 for each barrel. For a country like Nigeria right now, we are producing up to 1.67 million barrels a day. 25.
They're looking to get into 2 million at the end of the year.
2 million at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So you just do the maths. $25 times 1.67 million. That's what we will be losing. It will impact on infrastructure. It will impact on everything. I don't need to tabulate them. It will impact on everything. However, if we had diversified our economy successfully, it wouldn't have been such a problem. So this is the time that government should really look at other sectors. The mining sector is showing a whole lot of promise. However, there's a lot of cleaning that needs to be done in the mining sector. Take the mining sector seriously. That is a gold mine. It's something that can sustain Nigeria without oil.
That's
if
right.
we do it seriously, and agriculture.
Yes. Ria, let's move on to the Hope newspaper. This is more of a human angle, slant to the challenges facing the country, saying that flooding threatens food supply. Farmers cry out, and then the State Emergency Management Agency distributing relief materials to over 1,700 flood victims. Disburses over 50 million naira in cash, intensify sensitization campaigns. We thought the rains, had gone, but some places are still experiencing rains, which in effect affecting farmlands and then affecting crops, which would contribute to the challenges of food insecurity that we're having. How do you think we should navigate these challenging times?
And I thought that Mokwa will have taught us a big lesson, but it seems that we have not. I hate the fact that we're always waiting for something to happen to give out relief items rather than facing how to stop this. Are we really looking at how to eradicate and make sure that we don't see this flood again, rather than looking for giving out relief items? And I always use Mokwa for example. We cannot experience another disaster like that. Now we're talking about food security. We know that when this happens, food will suffer, and everybody on this table will suffer from food as well, because we all eat. So when I see stories like this, I want to look at the solutions. I'm more of a person of what are the solutions, what can be done. At this point, I'm not even thinking about relief materials again. I'm thinking, how do we stop it so we don't get to give relief materials?
That's right. That's right. Let's move on to Abuja in Kwara, Etoma. Abuja and Wike are teeth. So there is this battle over land grab allegation. The university malls petition to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you look at Wike alleged that Abuja, encroached over 11,000 hectares of land, but they've been able to reclaim 7,000. And we know this citadel of learnings, our citadels of learning rather, they have large expanse of land. Have you been to Unilorin? You're traveling from the gate to, getting to seeing the first blocks. And then you go to, so many schools there where you see how large they are. But now having Abuja saying that they encroached on 11,000 hectares of land. Who allocated this land? And when was it done? And what are the arguments, for his own position that these lands have been encroached? Or is the government looking to take back what he has given?
Wow, 11,000 hectares, that's That's a village. In fact, that's a city. That's a city.
That's a country.
That's in some areas.
Go to some
yes.
islands.
Yes, it's a country. That's a lot of land. I think that size was what Wike looked at and said, how one university, why should they have so much land? Let's go into the history and see. And he found out that the university actually encroached on ancestral lands, that belongs to the Aboriginal people of that area. Yeah. And he decided to claim it. I mean, he's the minister for the Federal Capital Territory.
That's right.
So he has the power to do that. But the university is not looking at it they are not happy about it, and they are making a whole lot of noise. I think the way he took the land from them is the reason why we are having all this.
That's right.
He just went there. They would have had some kind of negotiations and all that before.
But just to add to this, because I followed that story closely, and the land was given in 1988, and it was allocated by former President Ibrahim Babangida. I listened to the Pro-Chancellor speak about it. The question I want to ask is that the University of Abuja, who owns the University of Abuja? At the end of the day, it's for the federal government as well. Yeah. And in a way, it's side by side. I do not even know who to stand with. But according to what Wike said is that, they're taking 7,000 hectares, for development, and then they'll give them 4,000 hectares. Now, the problem that he said was that all the hectares that they had, what did they do with it? But according to them, those hectares were given to them for development because, it takes time to develop. But Wike is not asking, how long does it take to develop? Because you were not using it, we want to use it. At the end of the day, it seems like he wants to touch that district and make it better, and he needs it. I don't even know at this point, but I think that I don't know how this is going to be settled.
Let's see how
Fingers crossed to see how it will be settled. But I kind of agree with the fact that he wants to work on that district, and they're not doing anything with the land. We shouldn't politicize everything. I think right now it's looking, and it shouldn't be like that.
That's right. Let's move on to the Leadership newspaper as well as Platform Times. No, Platform Times and Leadership newspaper, because the stories are quite related. Tension rises as police pensioners begin mass protest today. You will react to the one on Leadership newspaper. But if you look at Nigeria Police, those who are retired, they're not getting the money as and when due. And the question is, why is it that they have the people at the top echelon, talking about the IGP, etc., on defined benefit scheme, which is the DBS, as against the contributory pension scheme, which is not helping anyone in any way. So what do you say to this? Because, one thing is you've given your all in service. What do you get in return?
I will put this blame squarely on the Police Service Commission. Policemen, no matter how you look at it, took a risk in doing their job for a minimum of 30, 35 years. Yeah. I mean, when they go out, give them what it is due them. Give them what is due them. This is the first time I'm hearing that retirees are going on strike, and it doesn't paint a very good picture. So I want to use this opportunity to call on the Police Service Commission to look at this thing urgently and take care of these retirees that deserve every 5 kobo they are asking for.
At least if we are asking for accountability on the side of the police, what about the government? Because some private organizations too are also found wanting of this. They're not remittance of pension, which is not really good. It doesn't motivate people and affect trust. But Ria, if you look at Leadership newspaper, 1 year after Supreme Court judgment, workers threaten strike over lack of financial autonomy in local government areas. We want to take governance to the grassroots, but the state governors are still, the local government are still in the stranglehold of the local government. I mean, of the governors. What exactly do we even want in this country?
Quickly, before I touch on the local government, I just quickly want to go to the pensioners, because at some point we had a conversation on this table where we saw some of them praying to God, for them to be paid. And it hurts me that these people have worked so hard, and they should at least, the least that can be given to them is what they require. Some of these people are old, some of these people cannot work again, some of these people have ailments.
All of them are old.
I just want to say some have ailments, some are not even well. And then they are praying and crying for their pension. And this is just me saying that, whoever is in charge of this, these people really need to get their pension. They don't need to go on strike. And they don't need to be praying. Now let's go to the local government. We've spoken about it on this table quite a number of times. What is holding back? Who are the state governors that are holding back? We see that now these people are saying that this is the final warning that they are going on strike. And they have telling us that this is the final warning. The issue has been lingering on and on and on. First of all, we're talking about accounts, like how will accounts be open for them? It's just like, Etoma, the way I understand it is, lunch money, I give you lunch money, then you now give it to, like, my lunch money, they give it to you to give it to me. Why should it be that way?
Your lunch
when
money,
I can have my own lunch money and do what I want to do with it.
Yes, exactly. You see, my question every time when I read anything concerning this or hear anything concerning this is how powerful are the governors that for 1 year they can flaunt a Supreme Court judgment. 1 full year and nobody is doing anything.
And then say that the Supreme Court is final because it's infallible, and it's infallible because it's final. So anyone now, in fact, some people will go to Supreme Court. We need to challenge you. You need to review your judgment. Come on, do that. Let's move on to Nigeria News Direct because of our time.
Yes, okay.
Right. So no anointed candidate for 2027 presidential elections. That's according to ADC. Supporters don't speak for Atiku or Obi, that the opposition coalition cautions camps. As Binani dumps APC, joins ADC in dramatic twist. Dramatically, let us approach this, this issue, because one thing is that we see Atiku formally declaring, for the ADC, leaving his own, party 3 times now. We've seen Obi frolicking with this party, but people are looking at, is Atiku that seems to be the one going to take over the ticket one way or the other, and Obi is being used against himself.
You see, at this stage, I don't like speculating of what might happen in the ADC or any political party you come to think of that. We're in the period where politicians do a lot of dance, and it will continue until the elections.
Macabre dance.
Whatever, maybe it's Bata or it's Atilogu. However, you will see a lot of movement from here to there, a lot of speculations here and there. I don't like speculating for politicians, because you are reading this thing maybe academically or because you have intimate knowledge of what is happening, and the next thing you know, the script has been flipped. So, I mean, what's the point? We'll just have to look at and see the development.
Excuse me, I think it's an open book.
To see how it unfolds.
Atiku is one person who has the right to be the president of this country, but I don't know who prophesied to him that you are going to be the president of this country, and it looks more like desperation.
But at the end of the day, fingers crossed, let's even see if he'll get the ticket, because I'm really looking forward to how that plays out, because I keep saying it, Peter Obi seems to be a man that stands with his words, and he said he was not going to be vice president to anybody. So I really want to see who now gets that presidential ticket for the ADC. Now let's talk about PDP. It's a walk in the park. We already know that your state governor, Seyi Makinde, might, fingers crossed, I don't know, you didn't hear it from me, but might. These are people that throw in as, the presidential candidate. We also have the Bauchi state governor, Bola Mohammed, as well. These are 2 people that, on Twitter, there has been conversations that these are the people that may get the ticket for the PDP.
But did you know that the PDP,
but at the end of the day,
now asking Peter Obi to come to the PDP?
No, but at the end of the day, there are more people and they have the right to all contest for the ticket. I cannot wait to see how it plays out. And for the ADC, I'm really, really optimistic. I want to see what happens at the end of the day. I want to see if Peter Obi will really keep his word, because he has said it, and we hold him by that word, that he was not going to be the vice president to anybody.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
All right, let's move on to Sport and Life. Let me just quickly run through some of the headlines here. Nunes scores first half hat-trick, and then West Ham sign Walker Peters on free transfer. Edison agrees personal terms with Galatasaray. I think I took this headline a little earlier. 2025 summer transfer, Lookman is Inter Milan's #1. That's numero uno target. Eagle Star agrees 5 years deal with Nerazzurri, rejects Napoli offer. Well, that's about it.
Are we not having Osimhen on this?
Oh, I think Osimhen is here. Let me just take your boyfriend's headline. Osimhen transfer. Galatasaray reach €75 million agreement with Napoli. Serie A champions secure 10% sell-on clause, and the Nigerian can join any Serie A club for next 2 years.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one for that.
He can join or he can't join?
Can join.
He can join.
He
Okay.
can join.
All right.
Yeah. Right. So congratulations, and I can see that the picture here also shows him kind of like
in a happy mood.
Clapping.
So it's a good one. But that's about it for the newspapers up for review this morning. We need to raise some